Okay, can we start? Right, because we have limited time on 1 o'clock after you need to finish the discussion, right? And so we start and please, I hope to after that 8 o'clock sharply, right? This participation on time is much important, right? Okay. Can you remember what we talked about in the last time? Day, right? Can you remember? Right? So I gave you a quiz also, right? Out of 46, around 30 attended according to the information of the last day. Right? So what about to others? I don't know. Are they? There are 46 registered, no? Out of 46, 30 students submitted. Okay, right. So now what we talked about last time, can you remember? So we talk about the basically our production function. That's very important evidence, right? In managerial decisions, right? So when we talk about the production function, now last day we talked about the basically short run production function, right? Short run production function. Yeah, the producers try to maximize output by combining different inputs, right? That means the variables and the given textbook, right? That we know that when the production decision, right? So that is in the short run simulation. Right? So in the short run, we know that we can incorporate the variable inputs, right? Because we can split the output at the short notice. The labor, adding the labor and the factors, right? But we know that the big factors, those are constant, so we cannot change with the short run, right? That means immediately we cannot change all these factors. So therefore, we need to take the production decision in the short run, right? By adding the variable input, right? So what we talked about last time, how the producer behave, right? In such a situation, where we talk about basically average productivity, marginal productivity, and how it total output is response with respect to the variable input, right? So the important thing is that we notice what is the most important thing that we notice for the rational producer. Where he stop his production, right? At the region where he can gain positive marginal production. So that is stage 2 that we highlighted. Yeah, at that point, initially we noticed that the average productivity comes to the maximum level, right? The average productivity also decreased, right? And the marginal productivity also, we know that continuously decreased, but it is positive, right? So that area, right? The producer decides to produce, right? But that's only the one aspect, right? We talk about the physical output, right? But as a rational producer, he has to consider other aspects of this story, right? What is the other aspect? That is, when we try to maximize the output, right? Just looking at the physical chain, right? We cannot take any decision, right? So we identify the region, right? Stage 2, that's somewhere. So we highlighted, right? Shaded area, right? Where he can decide this production, right? At any point, right? So that depends on what? That depends on the cost, right? Because now you cannot reach to the highest level of output, though there is a demand in the market, right? The constraint is the cost, right? So always we try to maximize something so subject to the given constraint, right? Even in our life, right? You know that so many constraints are there, we are reaching to our targets, right? The same thing happens with the producers, right? Because he has to combine all these resources, right? So they are actually the cost is very important, right? Because output, right? So that when you are reaching to a particular level, producer has to spend money, right? Acquiring those resources. Therefore, cost also very important, right? So now, next is that now we are going to talk about the cost side, right? And that also, right? But this is the short run situation, so we are moving to the long run. We talk about the cost separately, right? In our discussion, right? So now here we identified the positive marginal productivities that you can see in your mind, right? Always produce like the output region, right? I consider it the productivity, right? Marginal productivity, right? So not only that, the other factor is the price, price of the factors of production. That also very much important. So you can realize that one when we are actually in our discussion. Okay. So so that also we highlighted, you may remember that. So the long run situation, right? So far we take only the one variable factor, right? We assume the capital is constant, right? That is that determines the capacity, right? The distance, right? So depending on the capacity, now we discuss about how the producer can reach to the by taking the variable input, right? Right? So now we are taking the that is the now somewhere, right? So we notice that now in the production, so you can reach to the maximum level, 0.8, right? So in the short run, right? From that point onwards, right? If the producer wants to go beyond that level, right? We cannot do so, right? By changing the variable input, right? Because if we try to increase the labor further, what we notice is both this average productivity continuously decrease and the marginal productivity also continuously decrease. Problem is become negative, right? Negative marginal productivity means there is no rationality behind the producing, acquiring such labor inputs, right? So it is not rational, right? So there will be the negative marginal productivity. So that's why the maximum point is the 0.8, we can design, right? So we identify the stage 2, right? So they are also the maximum where you can reach the 0.8, right? Where the marginal productivity comes to 0, right? At that point, right? So, but beyond that level, right? We cannot go within that up, right? No, they cannot, right? So therefore, you need to think about when you realize something, you need to act capital, expand the business, in order to reach to that particular point, right? Highest level, right? So that's why we are talking about the loan, right? Loan situation. So that is the point, the period of time where we can produce output by changing the both factors, right? Now we are taking the two factors mainly, labor and the capital, right? Right. So now if the producer wants to go beyond the 0.8, right? So that means he's into the long run situation where he can decide the output level by combining both the variable inputs and the fixed inputs, right? So what is happening there in the long run? So there is no conflict between the fixed capital and the variable capital, right? Because all the factors are variable at that point, right? At that level, when you reach to the long run situation. Then the variable factors also, and we take the fixed factors also, right? So we have this means, and we go to this thing or something, right? So all the factors are variable. There is no conflict between the variable and the fixed, like we identified in the short run, right? Then we go to the long run situation, right? So there actually we identified all the factors are variable, right? So that's why we expand the business, right? So having more and more labor, hiring more and more capital inputs, the production process, not right? So that expand the business, not right? So that generate the economies of scale, right? So, so we identified those returns with scale principles, right? So there can be increasing returns with scales, not right? Since the business is expanding in the long run, no? So decreasing or constant returns will be made. So that we identify based on the inputs and the outputs, no? Right? Comparison, no? Right? Okay, so we talk about that one. Right? Now we are going to explain this story, right? Based on the economic analysis, right? Using graphical approach. So here we combine the labor and the capital, right? Both factors we take into account at a stretch, no? Right? In the earlier case, we take the keeping the fixed factors constant, we take the labor only, no? Right? So that explains the production function, no? Right? So they are in the short run, right? When it comes to the long run situation, now we change both factors, no? Factor combination is there, no? Right? The producer can decide how much labor hire, no? Right? How much capital hire, no? Right? He has to take both labor decisions and the investment capital investment decisions, no? The long run, no? Right? So that's why we notice that the long run, all these factors are variable. So the production decision based on the factor combinations, no? Right? Labor as a thing, right? So now we use for that isopont. First we used isopont, no? Right? So you may remember that the producer's equilibrium, right? To talk about the indifference curve, no? Right? Like we right? Here also now the producer's behavior, right? So they actually we take two products, no? Right? And you try to maximize your utility, right? Yes, on the indifference curve, so right? The indifference curve is the equal satisfaction, not in point. Right? The same properties here also we know. Same thing you can apply, but here we change instead of products. Example, here we use the factors of production. Labor and the because producer has to decide how much we need to hire the capital, how much we need to hire labor, no? Right? So the labor and the capital business. So here we take the two factors, labor and the capital mainly, right? So even though there are other fixed capital and also there, no, right? But we take the simplicity, labor and the capital, right? So now isopont is it's a Greek word, no? Isopont, no, right? Right? Equal production, no? Right? Equal production, right? That means why does we say it's a equal production? We know that equal is equal consumption, no? Right? Greater than satisfaction, no? Right? Equivalent part is from the example, which product example, right? Here, equal production. So there actually we notice in the consumer behavior, if consumer is indifferent, right? We select indifferent combination because either select by A, B, C, D along the indifference curve, no? He may indifferent because you get the same satisfaction, no? Right? You can substitute for anything. Here also, producer also indifferent, no? Right? So you can select different combinations, no? Right? Get the same level of output, depending on the prices, the technology, and their resource base, and so on. Right? So that's why we call it as equal production curve, no? Right? Equal production of production indifference curve, no? Indifference, production indifference. Right? Producer is indifferent, no? In selecting different combination, no? Along the isopont line, right? Okay. So it's represent now, it's a locus points of representing various combinations of factor inputs, no? Right? Yeah, we can generate same level of output, no? Right? It explain the different combinations of factor inputs, labor and the capital that the producer can use, no? Right? We know to get the same level of output. So that being alone the isopont, the producer use different combinations of the factor inputs yield the same level of output, right? So like you know that normally in demand curve you draw similar curve, no? Right? Can you remember? It's the expenditure, expenditure, no same like that. Can you remember what is that? Yeah, we get when there is equal between unitary elastic demand, then unitary elastic demand. Can you remember? It was a rectangular hyperbola demand curve. That means price into quantity equal, no? Right? So that's why we get the rectangular hyperbola. Right? When there is a unitary elastic demand, can you remember? Right? Unit elastic, right? So here also similar rectangle hyperbola, right? Because price into the capital and the labor you multiply one combination. So on the curve we get the same level of output, right? So now that we know that according to this definition, no, right? You know that isopons it reflects different combinations of factor inputs, no, right? So the producer has given choices, no, right? Selecting different combinations, no, right? Capital over labor ratio, no, right? That gives the capital over labor ratio, no, K over L, no, right? So that depends on the technology adapted, no, right? So the factor combination, whether to use how much of capital, how much of labor, no, right? So that is capital labor ratio. So that depends on the techniques, no, right? Right. Okay, so that represent the various combinations, no, right? So producing same level of output. And also, if there is now, you know that isocon, right? So producer always try to reach to the highest output level, no, right? But the important thing is we are trying to reach to the highest output, no, right? Which is very fruitful, productive way, no, right? It is the efficiency, no, right? But in economics, mostly what we talk about the economic efficiency, no, right? How we use the resources optimal manner, no, right? And we are talking about efficient allocation of resources. That means we are talking about efficiency, no, right? Economic efficiency. Right? So that's why we need to minimize the cost also, no, right? When we are reaching the output level, no, right? We are deciding the optimum output level, no, right? That is called optimum, no, right? So we need to think about the cost, no, right? So that should be the cost minimizing output level, right? So that is the optimum output level, right? So that's why we need to think about. Here we can talk about trying to find the output. So that represent the higher level of isopons, no, right? The higher level of isopon, the isopon map, no, different isopon. Higher level of isopon represent higher level of production, right? Right. So like you talk about in the difference curves also, right? Then there can be difference gap, no, right? So there can be different indifference curves, no, right? So higher level of indifference curves means producer goes to higher level of satisfaction, no, right? Here, producer goes to, so yes, they are actually consumer goes to higher level of satisfaction. Here, the producer goes to higher level of satisfaction. It leads to the higher level of isopon, right? So that means the shifting the isopon to the right, right? Explain the producer is reaching to the highest level of output, right? Okay, so now we can discuss few things related to the isopon, right? Some properties, no, right? The same thing you can recall your memories, no, right? When you talk about the indifference curve, no, right? So you may remember that indifference curve inverse sloping, no? Left to right, you also isopons also outward sloping from left to right, no, right? And you know that it's connects with the origin, no? I see indifference curve. You also the isopons connects with the origin, right? and higher level of isopon because of higher level of production output level. And also isopons cannot intersect each other, right? So you know that with the difference flow also cannot intersect. There can be common intersection point that may give the contradictory results, right? So it can be equal satisfaction even at any point on the difference flow, right? Cannot intersect, right? The common point, how we integrate that. That is violating our rules, right? Then now isopons cannot be intersected, right? So now first we take slopes downward. Why it is downward slope? That is now negatively related, right? Downward slope. One term is you know that negative, no? Negative related. That so downward slope is left to right, right? So most of the times, no, we know that sloping is also there, no, right? So here, this one also downward sloping left to right, negatively downward slope, no, right? So that means that implies the substitution, no, right? So in the isopons, no, right, we substitute one factor to another factor, no, right? Suppose if you want to increase the labor inputs, no, right? But in order to keep the same level of output throughout the line, no, right? We have to substitute on the other factor. Right? That should be happening, no, right? So there is a substitution. So when you increase the labor input, you have to substitute. You have to sacrifice the capital inputs, no, right? But different ratio, right? Lining ratio, no, right? So that's why it's negatively sloped, no, right? So that is called now slope is given by marginal rate of technical substitution. If you calculate this slope, right, of the isopon, we look at it later, right? So that is called marginal rate of technical substitution. So you may remember MRS, marginal rate of substitution in the difference curve, right? Here we use some T also there. Why we add T there? Because something we combine the factors, no, with the technology. Right? Technique is there. Right? So therefore we call it as MRTS, right? Marginal rate of technical substitution. Right? So that is negative, right? So that is the slope of the ISO one curve, right? Now I can remember in your quizzes, right? I gave you one question, right? You attended, right? But some students they are not they did correct way in the answer, right? But not the economic way, right? Taking the concept, right? Behind that, right? We didn't some students not realize clearly, right? But they calculate the things, right? Mathematically, right? Based on the equations, right? Now we may remember that is the region that we highlighted there in the list, right? They are the producer stage 2 region, right? So then the main point is average productivity is maximized. No? Question asks there the range, no? Right? So you have to decide one point is the average productivity is maximized point. Other one is the point where the total productivity is maximized. No? That means marginal productivity equals to 0. Those are the 2 points, right? We have to calculate it. That means we have to use the differentiation, right? Some students will, but other students they need to use, right? So now if we have given the average productivity function, how do you calculate the output level which maximize the average productivity? That is the point. One point we noticed in page 2, no, right? Productivity maximize where which output level, right? So it's a production function, no, right? Output level. So that means if we have given the average productivity function, you need to differentiate, no, right? So that means you need to take the slope, right? So in order to maximize, what we have to do? Take the first differentiation and it should be equals to 0, no? Right? Then you speak to equate that equation 0, no? Then you can find the output level which maximum, but you need to confirm that, no? Right? How we confirm whether maximization point equivalent. So if 0 maximum point minimum point again slope is 0, right? But you need to check that one. Whether it's a maximum point. How do you do that? You are doing the differentiation, no? That is next. Really? No. I got it. You are continuing. For differentiation. Okay, right. So I will define it. That's why it is here. Element of productivity. Find the marginal productivity. The one point that we notice is productivity maximized, right? Right. And the other one is this point, total productivity threat. That is the area that we had at stage 2, right? The output level. The output level will be. Let's see the growth, right? If you have given the total production, average productivity, you need to differentiate it, right? By differentiating, you can find out that function once it equals to 0, no, this point. Then you can find out the output level which maximize the average productivity. By taking the second derivative of that. Okay. And then if you have given now, if you have the average productivity, how you take the total productivity? The total productivity production means that is the function you have given, no, right? Maybe the short-term function or the long-term function, right? Average productivity means what is average productivity? Total productivity divided by labor, no? Right? So then how we get the total productivity? Average productivity into labor, no? Right? So you can find the total productivity curve, right? So then you can take the differentiation of the total productivity curve, no? Right? So that will give the point where the total production is maximized, no? Right? I expect that here, right? But since you follow this differentiation, that's why realize that, right? So that's why you teach you correctly, right? Our students pay and for share, right? Right. You got the point, right? Okay. So I can't remember the average productivity function. What is the average productivity function? Even to when you remember. Yeah, now we have this simple one, no? Right? We have given the you ask the production function given, no? Right? Average productivity is the Q divided by L, no? Right? So that's the average productivity. It's not the that one, no? Right? Like maybe different. Yeah. We have given this average productivity 600 L minus 20 L square, no? Right? to differentiate this function, no? Right? So then no one in the online language about something. Are there students joining online?
Yes, sir.
So the library production another day minus 28. Using output 95 directly. Okay, so average productivity the color one. Okay, the yeah, paintbrush. Oh, this one. Okay, right, so arrange. Average productivity of the account 600. Yeah. So what we do now, we need to find out that point. Right. In this average productivity maximize this point, right? I'm not going to get that. Okay. Okay, so, okay, right. The total productivity, right? Point productivity maximize, right? The marginal productivity curve, right? Point, right? Yeah, it maximize the total production, right? It is you take it about here, right? E over D, right? E over D. E over D equals to point. We take the average productivity to maximize, right? Point, right? You know, and given the average productivity function, right? If you take the page two area that we highlighted, right? Produce the output in that region, right? So we cannot take that point, right? So we highlight this region, right? So that depends on the cost, right? Yeah, if minus 20. So we take the differentiation, DL, no, right? We differentiate this function in terms of labor, right? Labor is the factor that changes here, right? We differentiate this one, right? So 6 from here to power 1, right? 1 into 600, 600, L, right? L is not there, right? Become 0, right? It becomes now L minus 1 into 600, 600, right? L minus L1 to 1 minus 1, right? It becomes 0, right? So that means it's 100 minus minus 2 into 20, 40. L, no, 2 minus 1 means 10 to power 1, right? That means we can write it. So this is the first differentiation, right? So now then at the maximum point, right? The average productivity is maximized. So you would find the maximum point, right? So we You know that slope is equal to 0, right? So we equate these equations to 0, right? Because at the maximum point, slope becomes 0. Right? Then we take 100 minus 40L equals 0. Right? We can find the labor inputs, right? Which maximize the average productivity, right? Right. So let me know what 40L equals 600, no, right? L means 600 divided by 40. 15, no, right? So the labor inputs here, 50. That is where the average productivity is maximized, right? So you can take the second derivative of this point, right? To see whether it's a maximum point or minimum point, right? So d2 ATL over DL square. We take the second derivative of this function. So if you differentiate again, right? So d2 ATL over DL square, right? This is 600 becomes 0 minus 40. Become minus 40. That means L to power 1 into 40. No? L minus this 1 minus 1. Right? Okay. So that means 40 becomes 40. So it's minus. Minus means it is a maximum point. It's the maximum point. Why we say? Because at the maximum point thereafter it tends to decrease. No average productivity. So that means average productivity. Now then we decrease negative, right? So the negative sign indicates that this is the maximum point. If it is positive, mean minimum point, right? If it is positive, means something. We take the second derivative. If it is positive, so that implies that point is minimum point, right? Well, you know this average productivity. We are talking about the maximizing the average productivity. Right? So there's confirm that average productivity is maximized at this labor input when we hire 15 labor hours. So right. Right. So that is one thing, right? Now then we can take the total productivity, right? So if you know the average productivity, right? You can obtain the total productivity function, right? You multiply now average productivity means total productivity divided by L, right? So then the total productivity means if you use the cross multiplication, average productivity into labor, right? Multiplying these equations by labor, right? You can take total production. Yeah, I will erase it. So the total productivity that is total production equal 600 L square minus 20 L to power 3. Right? So that is the total production. To differentiate this total production, right? We use D because otherwise, if we have two variables, no, we use the double, right? Here we use the D, no? dTP over ds, right? Because we have only one variable, right? dx. Right? We differentiate the total production function in terms of L, right? So how much? 2 into 600 means 1200. 2 minus 1, that means L, right? So then minus 3 into 2060. 3 minus 1 means L square, right? This is the first order differentiation, right? So the slope of this curve at this point, right? So you not find out the maximum point, right? So this is actually the slope of the total production curve means the marginal productivity function, right? So this is the marginal productivity, right? So for the total production, it gives us marginal productivity. So it gives the marginal productivity of labor. In other words, right? Now we calculate it, but we over DL. But not right. DTP over DL is same thing, right? So that is in order to maximize this, how we equate this equation 0, right? Because DTP over DL equals 0, right? The maximum point. So from right there, right? So we will find out the total production, right? The output, so sorry, labor input, which maximize the total production, right? So we take the equation to 0, right? How much? L, they are equal 1200 L, right? We cancel out negatives, right? Then you can divide both sides into L, right? 60 12,200. L means how much? 20, right? Right? So this is the L 20 point. That is the region, right? Either producer can decide having 15 to 20, in between that area, to maximize the output level of production. In that area. That's the question, right? Then can now you can see, right, the total production. We have given I think the 95,000, right? Was given 95,000. And labor is 80, right? The question asks whether hiring labor 80 units is rational or not. What is your decision? Can take separate the option, right? One is hiring labor input, now is the predictor to hire 18 labor inputs, right? This is rational or not? So that is in between this area, right? That is a rational decision, right? If it is over 20, it's not rational. Less than 50, not rational, right? Between 50 to 80, that is the region where the producer maximize output, right? So that is okay, right? So the first 95,000, that is, you need to find the cost function, right? How you take the cost function? What means the price of labor into labor input plus price of capital into labor inputs, right? Yes. So that is the cost, right? But the question is 95,000. Okay, for production. Yes. Okay, I total production. So then you can, what is what you have to do? You have to substitute to the total production function, right? So now we take the total production here. So we have the labor inputs, right? So we take the labor input, now the maximum we can go for 20, right? Labor input, right? That is the maximum, right? The short run, right? So substituting 20, 20 to power 3, 20 to power 2, can find the total production, right? How much? Can check it, right? Whether it's above the 95,000 or below, right? So that is the maximum, right? You can produce, right? By adding the labor inputs, right? You can substitute 20 into the production function and see whether it's above the 95,000. Yes, compared to you can see the decision, right? That way you need to answer, right? That concept you have to use based on our discussions. You have to think about the average productivity, marginal productivity, right? The total production based on that, right? You need to justify your answer. Okay, right? So that is something else to talk about, right? Okay, like the okay, right now, yeah, what's the other one? Okay, we talk about the properties, right? Properties of the product and part of the right? So here, next to part five. So we highlighted that. Now, if you outward sloping means negative slope, no, right? Do you have any question? Is it clear? Yes, yeah. They are better in considering, right? But you got the answer something. I think I calculate the average production and move the area. So yeah, yeah, shapes if you consider. Okay, right? So, but you have to now hereafter you can use the proper way using the economic thinking, right? You have to analyze those problems, right? And take the decisions accordingly, right? Right. So we talk about the slope, downward sloping, because of the substitution effect, right? So in the producer can substitute few factors, right, in the long run, because all the factors are variable, right? So no matter substitute them into capital or capital into there, right? But that actually gives the slope of the total isopon curve, right? So that is the marginal rate of technical substitution, right? So the slope of the isopon, right? So that yes, it is negative, because it's downward sloping, right? Once you calculate the slope, it becomes negative, right? And the two isopons cannot intersect each other because there cannot be common point, right? Because higher isopon curve explain higher output level, right? So what is the idea? The common point, intersection point. How we interpret that point, right? Because it's coming under the two isopon curves, right? If there is a common point, so there is we are focusing on the intersection point, right? So there cannot be such point, right? So that isopons cannot be intersect each other and convex to the origin, right? Convex to the origin. Why? Because when you substitute the labor into capital, right? Always you substitute when you increase the labor inputs, right? You substitute lesser amount of capital at each increment of labor, right? So that means it's convex to the origin. So if you take the, but you have to keep the marginal productivities, even though there is a substitution for the labor into capital or capital into labor, what happens? We assume marginal productivity is positive, right? Along this isopon, right? So we take the region where we get the positive marginal productivity. National area only we consider, right? That's a factor, right? So there is a third area also we ignore that part. We will take into the consideration that one later on, right? So since there is a substitutions, right? So each substitutions, right? Now when we increase the labor inputs, right? So increment of labor, right? So you have to substitute lesser amount of capital, right? Because that should be happen. Why? When you increase the labor input, you have to substitute capital. Why? You need to reduce the capital input because you need to maintain the same level of output along the isopon. Right? So if the both are behaving in the same pattern, right? So how we maintain the same level of output along the isopon, right? So that's why when you increase the one input, you have to substitute other inputs, no? Because along the isopons gives us same level of output level and keeping the marginal productivity positive, right? So higher isopon represent higher output level, right? When you go to the isopon map, right? Higher output level means producer, right? Produce higher output level, right? By combining higher input combinations, right? Compared with the previous one, right? Okay, so those are the properties, right? The general properties, right? The isopon, like we discussed in the indifference analysis, right? So now here you see, right? First one is IQ1, IQ2, right? So those are the in the isopon map, right? Higher isopons, no, right? IQ2 is the higher isopon compared with the IQ1, no, right? It gives us higher level of output. That's why output increase, no? 100, 200, 300, right? Because this is the particular output level, no? Each isopon indicate particular output level, no? Right? Different combinations, no? Of labor and capital, no? Right? But we produce particular output level. Higher means higher output level. And it shows different combinations. Now, A, B, C, D, right? Then different combinations of labor and capital that the producer can incorporate in the production process, no, right? In order to get the same level of output. No? Now, in the isopon IQ1, right? So its output level is 100, right? So there can be that output level can be reached by selecting either point A, either point B, either point C, like that, you know, right? So it shows the different combinations, right? Now it's other one is convex to the origin, no, right? So this is the origin, no, right? This is the origin, no, convex to the origin, no, right? Right. Not concave, no, right? Convex, no, right? So if you see the if each increment of labor, if you increase the labor inputs, right? And here 5, 10, 15, right? So you have to sacrifice the capital, right? At the first instance, you sacrifice 3 units, right? Second instance, you sacrifice 2 units. And the third instance, you sacrifice 1 unit, right? Over the time, sacrifice the producers to sacrifice lesser amount of capital, right? In order to when the producer increase the labor inputs, right? So that's slow, no, right? It's slow. What happened? So if you shape this area, this area, this area, this area, no, continuously decline, no, right? So that in the MRP is also decreased, no, right? Marginal rate of technical substitution, no, right? So if there is a lesser amount of sacrificing, right? You reach the highest level of labor inputs, right? You know, for the more, right? So we see the convex. So that's why we see the convex function, right? Lies about is convex, right? So, convex mode, right? So you can notice those things, right? And if you take another isopon like this intersection point, like going through the point B, that cannot be happened, right? Because point B then it reflects 2 isopons, right? So how we explain that one? How one is something above or something below, right? So then we common one, right? So you can take this way, right? take this way right now. This Q1 Q2, right? Two isopods, right? So this is the point, the common point, right? P, right? We take another 2 points here, A and B. Okay. So we have P points, right? Common point is the point C, right? Now, what is your definition on these two isopods, right? We consider these 3 points. Now, the QA equals QC of right? Right. Output level at point A equals output level at point C because it lies on the IQ2, right? And same way, QB equal QC. Is along the isopod 1 from IQ1. Right? So therefore, can you say QA equals QB? Can you say QA is equals to now according to this definition, no, right? QA equal QC, QB equal QC. Therefore, QA should equals to QB. But you can't say no, right? Because this QB higher isopods, no, right? Compare here, right? It's above the QA, no, right? It gives higher output level than QA, no, right? QA is the lower isopod, right? So therefore, we cannot say the intersections, right? This is wrong, right? The point C cannot be happen. There cannot be common point, right? That actually cannot explain the thing, right? So according to the principles of the isopod, right? So there cannot be intersection points, right? Cannot. That means the isopods cannot intersect each other, right? Right. So now it's downward sloping, right? So that means if the labor amount, data amount of labor are used at the expense of the data in right. So that's why these right. Now then you look at the slope of the isopods, right? So slope, right? Now the isopods gives us the equal level of output, right? Which can generate by incorporating different labor inputs, labor and the capital input, right? So that means how the output we decide, either by changing both labor and the capital, right? So in the isopons, change in output means change in labor and the capital, right? Change in labor plus change in capital, right? That equals to changing output. By say delta Q, changing output equals to delta L plus delta T, right? Because in the long run, we change the both labor inputs, right? Right? We don't know what's the combination, right? We change over the labor and the capital, right? So the change in output means change in labor and the capital, right? So now there is a different combination. That's why we have the different combination along the isopons, right? So we change those labor and the capital inputs, right? So that explains the slope, right? When we change the one input, how the other input is going to be changed, right? So that gives the change in output, you change in the labor and the capital, right? So that we can measure the slope of the isopods, right? That explains the variability of changing labor and the capital, right? So how much we change and how much we change the capital and the labor, right? To achieve the desired level of output, right? So slope, right? So that is the now if you go the slope, downward sloping curve, right? So what are the two inputs we use? Capital and the labor, no? Right? So delta K and the delta L, no? Right? So the slope given us delta K over delta L, no? Right? In other words, if you differentiate the what do you call this production, quantum production, no? Right? Function, right? So you get the MRTS, no? It's the rate of technical substitution. So if you differentiate the isoquant function, no, right, you will get the MRTS, marginal rate of technical substitution, right? So now delta Q means, now that is now how we take the delta Q equals, now I said only that we take the output, right, by changing the labor and the capital, no, right? With respect to changing the labor, how much is output going to be changed? What is it? What does it measure? Marginal productivity of labor. Right? With respect to changing the labor, how much output change? No, right? So that means change in output, we will change in the labor. Right? Marginal productivity of labor. Same way, with respect to change in capital, how much output change? That gives us the marginal productivity of capital. Right? So that is, we can take it separately because we change both labor and the capital. Right? So if you take, how you take the marginal productivity, delta Q over marginal productivity of labor means delta Q over delta L or dQ over PL, right? Changing output divided by changing labor. If you rearrange this one, right, you can take change in output means delta L into marginal productivity of labor. No? You take that, you rearrange that equation, right? Right. So MPL delta Q over delta L or dQ over PL, right? To rearrange this one, right? Delta Q means delta L into MPL, right? Right. So, right. That is the thing I have in PL, right? Delta Q equals delta L MPL. Same way, delta Q means with respect to change in the capital, delta K over marginal productivity of capital. Delta K into marginal productivity of capital, right? So change in output is 0, no? Right? And along the isoquant, change in output is 0. Because we get the same output level, no? Throughout the isoquant, right? So delta Q means 0. So that means you can equate these two equations in other words, no? Right? Right? So because we get here also delta Q, here also delta Q, no? Right? You can equate the equation delta L into MPL equals delta K into marginal productivity of capital. So you can write it this way, right? So finally you can take it marginal productivity of labor over marginal productivity of capital, right? That will equals to delta K over delta L. So that is the MRTS, right? Marginal rate of technical substitution, right? So that means at the now the slope of the isoquant. In other words, we can say it is the ratio between marginal productivity between the labor and the capital, right? MPL over MPK. So that in turn equals to the MRTS, marginal rate of technical substitution. In other words, delta K over delta L, right? So those are the, finally we can come to that one, right? So the marginal productivities of respective factors, the ratio between marginal productivity of labor and the capital, right, equals to the marginal rate of technical substitution. That is the slope of the isoquant, right? Because we always in economics, we talk about the slope of the curves, no, right? So that's why we need to differentiate those functions, no, right? In order to make the decisions, no, right? Use the calculus, no, right? So you can keep in your mind, right? Now, isopon, no, right? Here also we talk about the marginal productivity. In the previous case, in the short run also, we talk about the marginal productivity, no, right? That's the change in our no, right? So here at the now, even though when we take the two factors, no, in the long run, no, we consider marginal productivity of those factors, no, right? So at the slope of the isopont, we use the marginal productivity, the ratio between the marginal productivity gives us the slope of the isopont, no, right? That is the marginal rate of chemical substitution. Okay, right? Is it clear? Right? So you have to use those differentiations. So if there's a question, right? If the production function is given, right? You have to differentiate it to see the marginal productivity, no, right? So we have to differentiate in terms of labor and in terms of capital, no, right? So we use the Douglas production function, right? So we change both labor and the capital, right? Therefore, we have to look at both the marginal productivities, right? So then here we talk about the actually now productivity, right? So that means with respect to change in the labor and the capital, how the output is going to be changed, right? Here in the story we talk about one side, right? Talking about the productivities and the change in output is not sufficient, right? To make a decision, right? So that's why in the earlier case, we end up with the productivity. We only identify the range that the producer can drive, right? In maximizing output level. Right? We cannot give specific point where the producer maximize output level, right? So in order to find out that, we need to incorporate to our model another variable, right? What is that? We need to incorporate cost. No? Cost information is also we need to incorporate, right? To make a real decision, right? Otherwise, we cannot make decisions, right? Therefore, we need to take the cost factors, right? Into our analysis. How we do that? How we incorporate the cost factors into our model. So this is our model, no? Right? So in economics, we talk about the models. So this is also kind of model, right? And we talk about the producers. Equilibrium, right? This is the isopont and the isocost, right? So taking into the productivities in the cost functions, right? So therefore, we need to incorporate cost, right? So here, how we incorporate the cost? We take the total provisions made by the public, right? Or total outlay, right? Total expenditure, right? What kind of the that means expenditure, firms are able to make, right? In the production process, budget, provisions, right? And people and that, we need to think about budget provisions, right? So that's why we need to talk about the cost, right? So that actually we talk about using ISO cost, right? Same thing that you explain when you explain the consumer behavior budget line, right? Individual behavior. There we take the budget line, our income, right? Based on our income, right? Right? How we allocate our limited income among the different goods, right? In your consuming, right? We take their bundle of goods, right? X or Y, right? And we take the respective prices. So based on that, we can decide how we allocate the income in a fair manner, right? below the maximum activity, right? So that is budget line. You spend your total income, but among the two goods, right? Right. Made the expense, right? Same way, the producer also now he has resources, right? We need to use those resources, right? We need to acquire those resources, right? Paying the reward for such factors, right? Basically, for the labor, you have to pay wages, right? Wages, right? Capital, you have to pay interest, right? So that determine the prices for factors of production. Accordingly, we can decide what is the total outlay, what is the total expenditure the producer make, right? So that's why we need to make that one need to incorporate that those aspects into our model, right? So we use the ISO cost curve, right? So ISO cost curve represents the various combinations of inputs, right? The labor and the capital, right? Those are the inputs, right? So that we use or that we purchase, right? For a given level of expenditure, right? So we spend all these expenditure, right? Among the two factors of production, right? Based on the factor prices, right? So at a given level of prices, right? So wage and the interest rate, right? So we can decide it, right? How we allocate our total expenditure among the two factors of production, right? And how we make the expenditure for labor and how we make the expenditure for capital, right? So that explains the outlay of the firm, right? When we are making the production process, right? We need to purchase the labor and the capital, and we need to decide how much to pay for the labor and the capital, right? So that aspect we need to incorporate. How here we put the capital and the labor, right? Two inputs, right? So now we find the two extreme points, right? One point is here. The other extreme point is here, right? So if we assume our total expenditure, we incurred on capital, this is point where it we end, right? Cost is the total cost, or we can say the expenditure divided by the price of capital, right? Interest rate, right? That means we incur total expenditure on capital, right? So how much we spend, right? That is one point. Here the total expenditure we made on labor inputs, right? Paying the wage, W is the wage rate, right? So this is the point where we get, right? So the combining these 2 points, we can draw the ISO point, right? Right. So this is the ISO point, right? Now the slope of the ISO point means what is it? COR divided by CW, right? If you rearrange that one, you can cancel out C to C, right? You can write it and C. COR divided by CW, right? So that means COR multiplied by WOC, right? So then C to C cancel, right? So that means slope means you can take WOR, right? Slope is WOR, right? This slope, delta A over delta B means price of wages and the price of price of labor and the price of capital, right? The ratio. So this is the ratio of the factor prices, right? The ratio of the factor prices gives us the slope of the ISO cost, right? W means the price of labor, R means the price of capital, right? So the price ratio between the two factors gives us the budget, ISO cost, right? So that means delta K over delta L, right? We have another way, right? So that in turn equals to WR, right? So that is the slope of the ISO cost, right? Now, if this one and here says something shifting the ISO cost, right? So that can be happen if the cost is increased, no, right? Right, if the cost is increased, no, right? Total outlay, if the firm is ready to allocate more funds as expenditure, no, right? For the factors of production. So this curve shift to the right, no, right? All curves, no, right? Right. That means increasing the outlay, right? Right. Right. Now, if you go to along with that, right? Now, if you write the cost, right? Total cost or the expenditure, right? Total outlay, right? We can take the price of labor into the labor inputs that we use, right? How many labor hours? L means the number of labor hours that we use. EL means the price of labor, wage rate. That means W into L, no? So that is the expenditure on labor, right? Plus price of capital, PK, into the capital inputs, no? That we incorporate. So the PK into K means expenditure on capital, right? So that forms the total cost, no? Right? So the total cost, or we say the total outlay, equals to expenditure on labor, expenditure on capital, right? So now we can write the price of labor means the wages, right? Sorry, we can write it down. We can PL or PL means wages into L, PK means interest rate into K, right? So that means WL plus RK equals total expenditure, total cost, right? So by rearranging this one, this equation, you can take in terms of capital. You can express that equation in terms of capital, right? So that means UR minus WR into L, right? See how we get that one, right? So you can express in terms of labor also, right? Like this one, right? So then it becomes your P divided by W, WR into H, right? Like that, right? So we can here it's explained in terms of capital. So this is the intersection point. So this is the slope, right? Slope of the isopont, right? Sorry, isopont, WR. That means the labor inputs, right? So the slope of the isopont means WR, right? The price ratio, which is the wages and the right? So it's also negative, right? This slope is negative, right? Minus sign indicate that the slope is negative. Because the iso cost curve also downward sloping, from left to right, right? It's negative slope, right? And this is the intersection point. So, so this one explains this is the isopont function, right? So this is the equation for the isocost, right? Express in terms of capital, right? You can express in terms of labor also. See how it is expressed, right? In terms of labor, right? But common point is the intersection point of WR, right? Okay. Is it clear? So now we know the slope of the font, right? So that gives us the marginal rate of the substitution. So that internally equals to the ratio of the marginal productivities between the rate and the capital. And also the slope of the isopont. That is the total outlay, right? Required output level. So now the slope of the isocost is the price ratio between the labor and the capital. Okay. Okay, right. So we'll take 2 minutes break, right? 15 minutes. So we need break, right? After the break, right? This comes, right? If there are any questions, before. Right? calculation right, based on this measure. And you see the alternative. So yeah, you have my email address. Okay, send me the email. My email I will give you. In the SMS site. Okay, so you send you a date.
India, accidentally jadi I'm renting dari kenali dia pasti ada informasi so please bila kantor itu sering kirim penambahan itu ada kan kita kursus itu sih itu kan lalu kita satu dia orang ini kenapa dia di suri dari Twitter ya itu அதே அவன் சொன்னான் நீ சொன்ன நீ அதே சொன்னான் Yeah, I think I decided to
Okay, so contacting to others. Team means. Well, right? We have another link, so. Part time. Same, yeah. This all. What is your intake? 70. How many intakes are there?
Percent. We are exemption.
Okay, so we have the limited time in the start, others will join, right? How we talk about is how we identify the slope of the curves, right? So now we are referring to the loan run situations, right? So far in our discussions, we talk about the isoforms and the isoforms, right? Yeah. So now with that, we are moving to the other, right? Okay, right. So now we move ahead, right, with the isoforms, right? We identified the slope of the cost curve, right? The price ratio, right? Between the two factors that we incorporate into the production process, right? That is the weight over capital ratio, right? Right? That gives us the slope of the isoform, right? So what kind of factors is the isocost curve? Actually, we are going to look at that one, right? 15 factors, right? So we can identify the two factors, right? That goes to fix the isocost. So one thing is the cost, right? Total outlay, right? That the firms we need to spend, right? So the firms is going to propose higher budget for the expenditure, right? For the next year, right? So probably that will shift the entire isocost curve to the right, right? So increasing the outlay, right? Expenditure, right? And the other one is the change in the prices, right? Price changes, right? Meaning that labor and the capital, right? So there can be changes in the prices of the functions of production, right? So if there's the increase or decrease of price change, right? So that since the prices is very much important, right? In the production decisions, right? That will directly affect the cost of production, right? So therefore, we can consider that one, right? If there is a rise in the price, right? Normally, national producer means he will decide the production mix, right? By taking the lesser amount, right? By employing the lesser input from the manufacturer, right? Because it affects the cost, right? Because producers, they know that we must remember the profit maximizing, right? So something to minimizing the cost, right? Cost minimizing. Right? We are talking about the cost minimizing, right? In order to that, in other side, we explain the profit maximization, right? These the producers always think about the cost minimization, right? So we will decide the production mix, right, by incorporating the factors of global price, right? Operate normally. Production decisions, right, by incorporating the factors which has global price, that reduce the expenditure, right? If there's a decline in the price of the particular product, sorry, if the factor, right, particular tends to increase more from that factor, the beginning, right? So then the production mix, in deciding production mix, right? So therefore, we can place that one also, right? Price, right? Price of the factors of production, right? And factor prices, right? Now, if we take, so moving to this example, right? So what happens if there is a increase in the total outlay, right? Total expenditure, like we mentioned earlier, that will shift the entire ISO cost curve to the right, right? Because there is no change in the prices, we assume, right? Only the expenditure increase, right? So that shift the ISO cost curve to the right, parallel shift, right? Parallel shift. So that means that allow the producer to use more from both factors of production, right? So we can incorporate more inputs, from labor and the capital, right? So therefore, that will go to the higher level of cost, right? So that will indicate by shifting the ISO cost to the right, right? So in the first instance, right, if there is a rise in the total outlay, that shift the ISO cost curve to the right, right? So if there is a decline in the cost, if there is a cost reduction, right, that shift the ISO cost to the left, entire cost to the left, right? That also can be happen. And the other one, change in the factor prices, right? So if there is a decline in the, let's say, wages, wage rate, right? What happened? The producer can incorporate more labor inputs to the production process, right? So that actually we say not the shifting, right? It should rotate the ISO cost to the right from the labor axis, right? There will be a rotation, right? So one point capital is constant, capital prices. So only the labor prices may increase. So that means the producer can incorporate more labor inputs, right? In the production mix, right? So that actually shift from shifting is rotate the isocon from the labor axis to the right. So those things can be happen, right? Now here this says the rotation, right? So let's say there is a decline in the price of labor. PL means price of labor, seen in the cost of total expenditure or outlay, right? So now here it rotates from the labor axis, right? Because there is a decline in the wage rate, right? So as a result of that, you can incorporate more labor inputs into the production process, right? So the more labor, keeping the capital constant, right? We can incorporate. So that means we can go for a higher level of production also, right? So that we can discuss with the isopon curve, right? At higher level isopon curve, right? So this is the rotation, right? So that is rotation from the labor, right? So due to decline in the price of labor, right? And if there is a rise in the total cost, right? Total outlay, right? So that shift the entire ISO cost curve to the right. We see ISO cost, right? First instance, NM case, right? So the cost is $500, right? Total outlay is $500, right? The firm decides to increase the total outlay up to $600. So that will shift the entire ISO cost curve to the right. If it goes to $700, total outlay, so it further shift to the right. Likewise, so the entire ISO cost curve, right, shift to the right, right, from those axes. Here, shift the parallelly to the right, right, because that allows the producer to use more from labor and the capital, right? Both factors can be used. that means it can reach to the higher level of output level as well, no, right? By incorporating more variable inputs and then more category inputs, right? Okay, right, so that's, I think it's clear, right, shifting, right? So if the outlay increase, no, right, entire isocost schedule shift to the right, no? If there is a decline in the factor prices either from the capital or the labor, no, from that axis, it's rotate to the right, there's a decline. If there's a rise in the price, that means from that axis, entire, so that means it rotate to the left, no, right? Depending on that, finally we talk about the equilibrium, no, that may change, no, right? Because producer can decide at different output level at each of these instances, right? Right, okay. So now here you have given a small example. Can you just go through it and give me the answer for that quickly? Now you have, suppose you have given the budget, no, right? So that means the total outlay, no, right? It equals to $100,000, no, right? So, and the firm use only the labor and the capital inputs, right? And their prices are $100 and $200 respectively. That means the wage rate is 100, interest rate is dollar terms 200. Right? So how do you derive the isocost line for this based on this information? So how do you derive? Can you quickly derive the isocost curve based on this information? And what happens if there is a the allocation increase from 100,000 to $120,000, right? The total outlay is going to be increased from 100,000 to 120,000. What happens? It is the rise of cost. Okay. Can you give me the answer? So those who are in online, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you do this example
Okay, sir.
quickly?
Okay.
Is you got the, you can tell me the answer. What is isocost? We assume the linear isocost. Okay. Isocost line, the linear. Downward sloping. Right. That means you explain the total outlay of the organization, right? That can be compared on the factors of production, of the given level of prices, right? That means that explain the total outlay in point of the isocost curve gives the total outlay of the total, right? That will depend on the two factors of production, right? They were the capital, we take the two factors, right? Okay. Not taking much time. Remember that how we derive the isocost curve, right? Taking the two extreme points, not firstly, you have to have the extreme points, two extreme points. And you can do the isocost. So based on that. The extreme points based on the cost curve, right? Assume that you spend, right? So, on the two factors, based on the capital, right? Or the cost, right? Based on that, depend obtain the two extreme points, right? So it is business, first business, and the total outlay is 100,000. Okay, you went? What's your name? Vishal, you want to answer? So those are the factor prices mechanism. So they take this capital is 200 factor prices. Price of labor and the price of capital. So if you know that one, so you can decide how much the producer can use from the labor. Like it's how much the producer can use capital inputs. Over. Any questions? Well, you get late, right? To be. So you are now answer. That's a simple question, right? Here we take the two extreme points, right? Remember? Capital and the right? Here the first point, we take 2 points, we need to take those extreme points. We have given the total allocation is 100,000, total outlay. We divide by the price of labor, right? That means price of labor is 100, no? Right? How much we can take? 1,000 units. Sorry, labor, right? We take the capital is 200, that means 500 something. This is the budget line, no? Right? Our total outlay is 100,000, right? Point out of this by the first, we incurred 100,000, right? So there can be different combinations of labor and the capital input that we can use, right? Based on the given budget, and based on the given prices, right? Because we take here the cost divided by the price of labor. Here we take the cost divided by the price of capital, right? P divided by W, P divided by interest rate, right? So there can be different combinations, right? Each combination, right? We allocate different inputs, right? Capital and labor, right? By spending total outlay, at a given level of price. Price is we assume constant, right? Right. So then what happened now? The outlay increase up to 200,000. So then we can take the outlay increase up to 200,000, right? So that may increase the achieve the budget. Sorry, price of cost curve to the right, right? 200,000 divided by 100, right? So that means 2,000, right? Am I correct? So it will increase 2,000, and this will increase 5,000, right? 1,000. Anyway, right? It shifts the entire budget line, right? You can take it then scale, right? So my one is not scale one, right? So right. When we take it in scale, right? That shift the entire budget line to the I suppose to the right. Right? So that is the one, right? Okay. Okay, right, so that is simple, right, so just to take the different exchange points, right? If there is a decline in the price, right, we can take that one also, right? If the wage rate decrease, no, right? So earlier we have given the wage rate 100, no, right? If it is decrease up to 50, right? So that means we can take that way, right? So the change in the sale cost, no, right? So then you can see it's rotate from the left axis to the right, no, right? Right. Right now we take into account both the technical text, right? So that means ISO curve and ISO cost curve, right? Action and the cost together, right? Because now the producer, no national producer, always think about the optimal output level, right? Minimizing the cost, no, right? Cost minimizing output level. So therefore, we need to take into account both these aspects, no, right? So the output, and get the maximum output by combining the labor input. That gives us to think about everything we have some control, no, right? And the cost details also, no, right? So this is the equilibrium, right? So now because the isopont is downward sloping, right? And the isoclassical is also downward sloping, right? At a particular point, so these two curves are intersection. So that is intersection point. Right? That means that the slope of these curves become equals, no, right? Slope of the isocont and the slope of the isocos curve, no, right? So that is the equilibrium point, no, right? So the tangent point, no, right? So the intersection point, no, right? So here we see the particular point, right? This point, right? So this is the tangent point, right? So that gives the equilibrium, right? So producer decide how much labor to incorporate, how much capital to incorporate at this point, right? That is the output maximization point, right? Cost minimization point, right? This is the efficient point, right? Economically efficient point, right? So in other words, it explains the economic efficiency, right? Economic efficiency, where the producer decides the cost minimizing output level, right? So that gives the slope of the two curves equals, right? We know that slope of the item cost curve is the price ratio, right? Between the two factors, so that it rate over interest rate, and the slope of the isopont is the marginal rate of technical substitution, right? So that is MRTS. So in other words, you can say it is delta KO, delta L, right? So in other words, marginal productivity of labor and the capital equal, or the ratio between the marginal productivity at this point, right? MPL over NPK, right? So at this point, so we can write it MRTS. So labor into capital, LP, right? We substitute labor into capital, right? MRTS equals WR equals MPL over MPK equals delta K over delta L, right? Delta L over delta L means top of the point. In other words, that is why all these things are equal. So that is the equilibrium point, right? Marginal productivities, the prices, right? You take into account, right? So in the producer's equilibrium, here we most important things are the productivities, marginal productivities, and the factor prices, right? So this equilibrium occurs at the point of isopont tangent to the isopont curve, right? So when the slopes are equal, right? At that point, right? So we know that the marginal product per dollar spent on each factor, right? What is that? Marginal product per dollar spent on each factor, right? So that is something MP, by rearranging that equation, no, right? We know that MRPS means MPL over MPK, no, right? So that in turn equals to WR, right? So WR equals MPL into MPK, no, right? MPL over MPK, right? So by rearranging that one, you can write it, no? MPL over W equals MPK over R, no, right? Right. So that is the marginal product per dollar spent on last unit of each factor, no, right? Marginal, that is the ratio between the marginal productivity of labor and the price, no, its price, no, right? Marginal productivity of labor divided by the wage rate, no, right? Right. W, no, right? And that equals to the marginal productivity of capital interest rate. That is one, right? So that also we can derive based on the combinations, no, right? Okay. So NPL over W equals NPK over, right? Right. So that is the marginal product per dollar spent on last rupee of each unit of inputs equal, right? At the producer's equilibrium, right? So, right. So that is the equilibrium part, right? Now here, so we noted that now, so you know that isopon, no, right? Isopon curve, right? It's now explain the output level that we can study by different factors of production, no, right? So that is similar to the then talk about the production function, no, right? We combine these factors of production, no, right? In order to reach to the output level, no, right? So that says something about the technical efficiency, no, right? Okay. But here we take into account cost also, right? Together, no, right? So this is the cost minimizing output level at the tangent point, right? Because in economics, mostly we talk about the economically efficient output level, right? That is the cost minimizing output level. So this is always try to minimize the cost, no, right? Divide the cost minimizing output level. So that gives at the intersection point, so that we at the equilibrium point, no, right? So that gives the cost minimizing output level. So therefore, this explains the economic efficiency, right? Right now, we take some points, right? Right. So now when we talk about the profit maximization, right? So how the rational producer, right? To maximize profits, no, right? Profit means the difference between the revenue and the cost, no, right? Measure it. So the revenue depends on what? Revenue, the firm's revenue, yes, and the price that is charged, no, right? Product, no, right? So that revenue means price into quantity, no, right? Total revenue, right? Price into quantity. Sales volume, no? Quantity means sales volume, right? You multiply the sales by the price, no? Sales quantity by the price, and that is the total revenue of the firm, no, right? And costing now we discussed that depends on the how much to incorporate the data inputs and the payment for the factors, no, right? Price of labor and quantity, no, right? So the profit is the difference between the revenue and the cost, right? So there actually now we can see we can even though now we talk about the revenue, we talk about later more than cost loss we talk about, right? Right. Yeah, what we start at almost that. Right. Okay, right. So Now, what I want to say is right now, let's say the profits, no, right? So that mainly depends on the revenue and the cost, no, right? Revenue depends on the quantity and the price, no, right? Okay. So the quantity means the how much we produce, no, right? Right. And the market price also there, right? Apart from that, the cost also depends on the factor prices, no, right? Yeah, right. Therefore, now, if the producer maximize his profit, no, right? We can either maximize the output, no, right? Get maximum revenue, no, right? So, otherwise, take it into the cost side, minimize the cost, no, right? Based on the given prices, factor prices, right? These aspects are there, right? Maximize it. So that we can explain here, right? How that means producer always try to maximize the output. Right? Try to maximize the output, right? Reach the maximum output level that we talked about in the short run and even short run also the entry we talked about, right? But more emphasis given to the, as I mentioned, the cost side goes, right? Because even though the production we can decide it, we require no, but that finally depends on the cost, right? Constraint the cost, right? Therefore, we need to minimize the cost, right? In order to maximize the output and the profits, no, right? So the cost minimization is most important, right? Now here if you take the second diagram, right? This one, no, right? So let's say the maximizing output subject to the cost. Do you agree? The cost is given, no, right? What is the cost? That is the hyper cost, no, right? There's a fixed cost, no, right? The cost is given, right? So there can be different output, no, right? So the different isocons explain different output level that the producer can reach, no, right? So you know that higher output level indicate higher isocon, no, right? So there can be different isocons, no, right? Choices are there, no, that we can pick, but we must try to reach to the output level, produce the output, right? Subject to the given cost, right? Cost is given. Right? So this is the cost, cost line is fixed, constant, right? So there can be different isocon, no, right? But at a particular point, consumer maximize output. So that is the tangent point. Okay. Right. So now different choices are there, no, right? So it is a point map, no, right? But we cannot reach, we cannot produce point F, no, right? Because what is the constraint? Cost is the constraint, no, right? So there now we need to talk about that one also, right? That's there, right? So that yes. Thing is right now here we are trying to maximize the output. In business economics, we talk about maximization. Our objective function is maximize the output. Okay. What is the constraint? Cost is the constraint, right? So you have the given level of cost, like we mentioned in the previous one. No, there will be a total outlay 100,000. No? You can decide how we operate. So that explains the cost function, right? So that is the constraint function. If we are given the constraint, what is the constraint? Subject to that, we are trying to maximize the output, right? So you have to use some method is there, Lagrangian method, right? So Lagrangian function. There also you have to use the differentiation method, right? Sometimes we have statistics in the right? So there is a two factors, right? Okay, the Lagrangian, right? You have to be the Lagrangian function, right? We can obtain the possible combination. How much we are going to incorporate labor, how much we are going to incorporate capital and cost, right? customers. Right? So that is something else. That is the thing we are doing, no? Right? That's why that is the thing the producers and managers has to take decision, no? Right? Subject to the constraint, we are trying to maximize the objective. Right? Here the one is what? Here the problem. We are trying to objective function is minimize cost. Here different cost functions given, no? Right? Yeah. Earlier only one cost, iso cost. Here different iso cost, no? Right? So we have given we are trying to find out cost minimizing output level, right? Subject to the given output. Output is the constraint, no? That is the market demand, no? Right? Can you produce now? We have the budget is there, provisions are there, right? But there is no demand for the product, right? Yeah, so the constraint is the market demand, no? Right? So there are many different constraints, no? Right? If you don't have the demand for our product, no, why we need to produce, no? Right? Making money, that's not right. So there is allocation of resources. Therefore, we must try to minimize the cost subject to the given output level. Here it says that, no, right? So in other words, so I say objective function is the cost function, no, right? Our objective is the cost function. Because cost function explains how we minimize the cost, no, right? And constraint is the output, no? That is the demand function, right? Constraint is the demand, right? Output, right? So that is the important thing. So we are actually trying to minimize the cost, no? Right? So we are trying to produce cost minimization output, right? This is that option, right? So we have the two options. No? This explains the producer's behavior, no? Right? How the producer maximize output, right? Maximizing output subject to the given expenditure, no? Right? At the given level of expenditure. For minimizing the cost at the given level of output, right? So there can be different objective function and the constraint function, right? So both aspects we can analyze, right? So I think that's clear right now. Here we have the different cost functions, no? Right? So we are trying to, we cannot produce this point, no? Right? Even at higher level because our production point is somewhere below, right? So capacity is below, right? We can maximum produce 100 units, no? Right? Cannot reach to this point, right? So therefore, now the point C and the D, no? That is not reachable, right? Right? At the given level of output level, right? So the we produce at the point E. That is the cost minimizing output level, right? So even though these are the intersection points, right? Those are not feasible, right? Here also, right? This also not feasible point F, right? If we take this R and S, those 2 points also not feasible, right? Right? If you compare with the IQ1 and the IQ2, the R and S lies in IQ1, right? Lower output level compared with the IQ. Right? Therefore, this R and S also not feasible, right? What is the feasible point is E, no, right? So that is a tangent point, right? So that gives the highest level of output means is lies in IQ2, right? Right. Okay, IQ1, right? So those are the equilibrium points, no? Right? So where we can produce, right? So the most important thing is now economic efficiency. We can explain here, no, right? So anyway, the tangent point, no, gives us the economic efficient point, efficient. There's no right? So that explains the cost minimizing of the right? Okay. Right. Is it clear? Okay. Any question? Clear or any question? Right. So next, we will talk about something else, right? Finish this one, right? That's the ridge line, you know, right? So now we know that the isopont, you know, right? Isopont, any point of the isoponts, we know that we say gives the equal level of production, no? Where we can produce different factor combinations, no? Right? And we do the same level of output. But that is not happening for all the points, no? Right? Right. Because you may remember that we talk about the positive marginal productivity, right? So that, right? So there is a feasible region, right? So this upper ridge line and the lower ridge line, right? In between that, right? Explain the feasible region of the production, right? So that we can produce, right? So having the positive marginal productivities, right? In this feasible region, both marginal productivity of labor and the marginal productivity of capital is positive, no? Right? But you know these lines, right? So that's throws, no? Right? Now, above these lines, no? Right? Now this is the points where we can get the negative zero marginal productivity, no? Right? At the point A1, A2, right? We look at if we analyze. So that gives the zero marginal productivity of capital, no? Right? In the upper ridge line. In the lower ridge line, point B, B1, B2 represent the zero marginal productivity of labor, no? Right? And above that, those points, no? Upper and then below, right? Gives us the negative marginal productivities of the respective factor, right? So above A1, A2, right? So this curve become backward, no? Right? Curve become backward, no? Right? Isopont, right? So that will give negative marginal productivity, right? We know that national producer produce only the positive marginal region, no? Right? So the negative or the zero marginal productivity, no? Right? We will not select, right? So normally the negative positive marginal productivity, the region will select, right? So this is the best area, no? Feasible region in between the upper ridge line and the lower ridge line is the feasible area of production, right? So that the producer can incorporate different factor combination. That explains the feasible region of production, right? You know that always we talk about the positive marginal productivity, right? Even though the marginal productivity is decreased, it is positive, we can sustain production. Right? But negative marginal productivities always be avoided. Right? National producer will not produce at the point or the area where it gives us, or it's derived negative marginal productivity. So, right? So that's why we take in the isopont only the feasible. When we draw the curves, right? We are not taking the backward area, right? Only the feasible area we take, right? Right. The feasible area, right? We know that the positive marginal productivity you can gain by combining those labor inputs and the chemical inputs. Okay, right? So any point on the isoponts outside of upper ridge line or the lower ridge line constitute uneconomic regions. So those are not feasible regions, right? Economically not favorable points, right? So the production must take place inside the ridge line, right? So that is economic region for the feasible region. Right. So the optimal combinations where we get, right? According to the isopont curve, right? So that is the when the two slopes are equal, no? Right? So that is the slope of the isopont, slope of the isopont, right? And the marginal productivities of the respective factors of production are equal. So in other words, marginal product per dollar depend on each rupee of each rupee of each output. The same that we can here over here equal that we gain, right? And the expansion path is the efficient combination, right? So by combining these equilibrium points, right? There is a rise in the outlet, right? Then go for higher level of output, right? By combining different combinations, right? So that explains the movement, right? Of to reach to the higher level. So by combining these equilibrium points, we can go a curve that is called expansion path. Right? Long run, right? That is the long run. Right? The expansion path explains the most economically efficient combination of wave and dynamic. Right? Asking, right? I was not clear. I don't. You know that cost curve, right? So now we use the different capital and the labor input, right? So it cost right? It's IQ1, IQ2, IQ3, right? For an isopause, right? So now here, if you go this way, right? Now the capital is constant, no? Is stuck. But there can be used different labor input. So L1, L2, L3, right? Like that, right? So this is the short run. There is the short run situation, right? Yes. In the long run, you reach to the higher price of cost, right? We take these points, right? So where we can take different factor inputs from both data and the capital, right? The K1, K2, K3, right? L1, L2, L3, right? But it is the long run situation, right? That is the long run situation, right? The higher level of isocon, not right? IQ1, IQ2, IQ3. This is 100 output, this is 200, this is 300, right? In the long run, right? So the change in the factor combinations, right? Different factor combinations. So that explains the long run, right? Production, right? Production, right? Okay, so that's why we use the expansion part, no? It says the long run, right? Then we change both data and the capital, right? Taking into account this both cost and the physical output, isopod, right? So the short run, so this is the short run situation, right? So we and the long run situation, right? Here the capital we keep it constant, no? Right? So that is short run. We can decide incorporate there. Right? They are also output increase. That's why we are reaching to the higher isopod curve, right? Because the inputs we can change. And we know based on that output or the product curve explains that, right? We explain the asking, right? Okay. You know the equilibrium point, right? So now we can see the expansion path, right? So this is the expansion path, don't run, right? Taking the efficient points, no, right? Well, then, right? So far, the efficient points, right? Equilibrium points, no, right? Operate different and the combinations, right? They then the capital, right? Against to the higher level of power, right? In the load. So this is the expansion part, right? So here, how we expand the output, right? By increasing the cost, right? Factor prices is constant, right? Right. Factor prices is constant. Total outlay increase, right? That will allow the producer to use more and more capital, labor and more capital, right? In the production process. So that's why this isocost curve shift to the right, right? Once it is reached to the shift to the right, the producer can go to the higher level of power. Right? So that's why isocost curve also shift to the right. Right? But optimal point gives us the tangent point. Right? Isocost and isocost. So combining these optimal points, we can go to the line. That is called expansion. Right? But here in this case, what happened? Here is the price, no, right? Price change, no, right? Price of here we take the labor. If there is a decline in the labor price, no, right? What happened? The isocost curve, as we mentioned, it rotates from the this x-axis, no, labor axis. Rotate. Is the pivotal point, no, right? Rotate, no, right? Keeping the pivotal point, right? Capital equal pivotal, right? Because capital price of capital does not change, right? So now what since the producer incorporate more labor, right? We can reach to the higher output level by raising the variable factor, right? So that means the equilibrium point moves from, as we mentioned, rather than right? So you can reach to the higher output level, right? I suppose explain that part, right? So the combining these equilibrium points with respect to changing the factor price, right? We can show the price factor, right? So this is the price factor, right? So there actually we see prices, factor prices change, but total outlay does not change, right? The total expenditure does not change. At a given level of expenditure, the producer can use more labor because of the decline in the wage rate. And you decide appropriate combination, optimal combination based on that. Right? Those combining those optimal combination points, we can identify factor price given, right? So the reference, right? Here the cost change, so here the total outlay does not change. Here the price servers, here the price change, right? You can see the right? Right. So is it okay? Any question? Right now, you have question. Yeah, how to go and on. But when I see here, I go here, the output. Then we can move plus five. One of the position on the design. That's why you want to know the possibility. dinner combinations, where the brothers excellent export. And we talk about and it's the highest output there in place as a person they are trying to make that output. That's our one. Our share get the total price more. But with that depends, right? There's a factors to get also be very possible. That's nice. Yeah. Well, that's nice. Was it particular reason is in between your upper is that and make the positive market for activity, right? But in that Australia, we can take the combination, keeping the value of productivity on positive. That we want to pay, but we can substitute. Exactly. Substitution, right? If you pay the economic. Mostly, actually, based on this, there is quickly one question they will do, right? Before winding up, right? I think there was level 3, right? Talk about equilibrium. Okay, this question, right? We have even one small question. Can you quickly give the answer? We will go after 750. Okay. Okay, now here, according to the equilibrium, right? What is the condition? You must know the equilibrium condition. Right? What is the condition? What is the equilibrium condition? Marginal rate of substitution equal to price variance. That in turn we can explain further, right? So that means marginal productivity of marginal productivity. The ratio between the marginal productivity between these two factors must equal to the price ratio. That is the one. Okay. We have given the total output. And the machine's total production is given 500, right? So that's okay, right? So finds that adding another worker, right? Increment, right? So increase the output by 250. What is that? That is marginal productivity of labor, 250. Adding another machine, 100. That means marginal productivity of capital is 100, right? So if you change the labor and the capital, how much the output change? Productivity. And the cost of one labor, one factor, 1 hour. Payment is 15, right? Metric hour, we pay 6, no, right? So that is price of labor and the price of labor, right? So if we divide marginal productivity of labor, 250 divided by 50, no, right? So that is the ratio between marginal productivity and this price, right? That should be equals to 2 factors of production, like same ratio, right? At the equilibrium point. You can check it. How much? 250 divided by 50, how much? And same way, 100 divided by 6, right? Marginal productivity of capital divided by the interest rate, right? How much? Is it same or different? It's same, no? Right? So that means, in other words, you can check this marginal productivity of labor over marginal productivity of capital equals to the price ratio between the two factors. And the price ratio is 15 divided by 6. Same thing, right? Demands, right? So that means, what is your decision? Do we need to change the factor combination, the labor input? Currently we use, right? Next, right? Is there a need? No? There's no need to change the factor combination. Right? Because the marginal productivities, the ratio between marginal productivity and the price ratio is equal. Right? So in other words, PL over L equals MPK over PK. Right? If additional output per unit rupee is spent on each factor is equal, right? Right? Additional output per rupee is spent on each factor, no? MPL over wage rate, MPK over interest rate. So that is equals to how much? 16 point something, no? Right? Approximately 16, no? Right? Since it is equal, no need to change the mix, right? That is what is right. Okay, so one more question. Right? Towards time. Side note. Okay, right now you have given, suppose you have given the production function, right? You equal to power 0.5, to power 0.1. So this is the fabulous production function, right? So the first is 1,200, right? Price of labor is 30, price of capital is 40, right? Right. Okay. So the wage rate and the interest rate is given, right? And so now we have to decide. Labor and the capital inputs which maximize the output level. Determine the labor and the capital inputs required maximize the output level. Maximum output that the firm can produce. Okay. What is the maximum output firm can produce? How many labor inputs, the capital inputs firm incorporate at that level? How we calculate? Yes. The thing is, now we know that our condition. Yeah, right. Here. PK equal WR, right? So this is our condition. So how we decide this one? So now first we have to take the marginal productivity level calculation. Respect to change in labor, respect to KT calculations. Right? So how we calculate the marginal productivity? Marginal productivity of labor. That means double Q over double L, no, right? So we use the DABA, right? Not BABA, DABA. DABA, it says DABA. Because we have push factors, no? Now we are in the lower run, we change both the and negative. First factor, terms of DABA, right? Changing output, in other words, that is what make it much serious, right? Changing delta Q over delta L, no? Right? That is the slope. No? That is the slope of the production curve, no? We take the terms of change in there, right? So how much? How do you do? 0.5 into 100, no? Right? Half into 100 means 50. 50. L to power minus 0.5, no? Because you have to deduct 0.5 minus 1, no? Right? And K is given as it is, no? Right? Right. Now you know the index, no? Right? Index numbers are present in mathematics, no? Right? You are genius in mathematics, no? Business mathematics. Oh, no? That's the first semester, right? Now we can rewrite this 50 L by writing this 0.5 K 0.5 divided by L. Right? Same thing. That is the marginal product interpretation. Right? Okay. This is the index, no? Index numbers, right? 0.5 minus 1 means minus 0.5, right? So same way you can take the marginal productivity of capital. How much? That is the DABA, you go over DABA K. Right? That means we take the first order differentiation of the production function, right? So in terms of capital, we differentiate. That will take the how much the output change into change in the capital, right? Delta Q over delta K, right? So now that means 0.5 into 100, same thing, 50. L to power 0.5 is there, K to power minus 0.5, right? This one also we can make it positive, right? Taking this one, take into below, right? 50 power 0.5, K to power 0.5 divided by K. That is NDK. Now we have the two equations. We can equate these two. We can take the ratio, right? That means if I write it here, right? 50 L to power 0.5, K to power 0.5, divided by A, multiplied by K, power 0.5, in power 0.5, right? So still cancel out, no, right? All the names. K over L, right? So that will equals to wage over interest rate. How much is the wage rate? 30. 30 divided by 40. So K over L means K over L. We can take LV. How much? K into 1 divided by 3, right? Am I correct? That means K into this. If there is a problem of this one, right? Right. So that is the we can stop there, right? So then that is the labor, not right? Function, not right? So you take the capital of labor, you can take it right from here, right? So then other aspect we have to consider, not right? Cost, not right? Cost also we have to consider. Right? Cost, I write it here, right? Company price of labor into labor plus price of capital into capital, right? Then the price of labor is 30 L plus 40K. So 40 is given 1,200. Can simplify this equation, right? So you can substitute that one. It was function, right? 1,200. 30 into LB is 30. 25. That means 1,200 means 80K. How much is the K? K equals 15, no? Right? Take it, right? The capital is 15, right? Right. And then you can substitute in order to find out the labor, right? So that's our labor function. Okay. Then the equals 4.3 into 15. The labor is how much? 20. Labor equals 20. So that is 50, right? So that is the how we incorporate, how much we incorporate labor and the capital in order to maximize the output level, right? Retention market and productivities, right? So the fixed is there, right? And the maximum output also we can take, no, right? We know the labor and the capital, substitute to this equation, no, can obtain the maximum output level that the produce, no, right? Okay, based on, right? That kind of things there, right? So we can apply it. Right? Is it clear? You can sign your. The question, if you have not clear, you can ask, right? We need to follow the condition, no, right? What is equilibrium condition, right? Based on the information given, right? You can apply the correct form, right? So accordingly, right? You can work out things, right? According to that, right? Following the condition, right? Right now, that is the combination, no, right? Labor and the capital equal combination, no, right? 20 and the 50. So maximize the output. That is the long run, right? You here, production function is long run production function, right? Okay. Right. Any questions? Okay, right. So if there's no question, so we can find out the session, right? So now actually I have uploaded the things and next week I have to give you an assignment also, right? Based on the things that we covered, right? Big, right? Probably, right? The usual assignment, right? And there's a problem, even though now if there are offline participations, we cannot have the MCQ test physically, right? We talk about, right? Okay. But to have the MCQ test, right? Because online ones that's there, I can monitor it, right? So that's problem face, right? Okay, right? So we'll meet next day, right? Next week, right? We'll can go through the materials, right? So next day actually probably we'll start the cost, right? Other side, right? And we go ahead with some as you suggested, right? We do some calculations, right? Parts, right? Applying things, right? So we can apply what the that we talk about here, theoretical, right? So function, right? So please attend the lecture at 8 o'clock, right? I will start. Even though there is one student, I will start at 8 o'clock if these things are ready, right? Yeah, so otherwise, taking 8:30, right, we can go, right? Don't have much time to do, right? Because we have finished at 7, right? That's why so start at 11 o'clock, 8 o'clock, takes 3 months of time. Your participation is very much important, right? Wake up early, right? And give them sharply at around 8 o'clock, right? So we start 8 o'clock, right? Thank you very much, right? Have a nice time, right?